Something monumental is happening in Washington, and it's shaking the entire gun rights debate to its core. Congress has advanced HR38, the Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act, a bill that could permanently alter how firearm carry laws work across the United States. This isn't some vague promise or temporary campaign slogan. It's the result of years of legal groundwork, political battles, and constitutional debates that have been building quietly in the background. Now, the pressure has exploded, and the legislation has started moving through Congress with enough force to make its opponents panic. For nearly 20 years, advocates have fought for this very moment. If passed, H.R. 38 would mark one of the most dramatic expansions of Second Amendment protections in American history. Congress takes action. The House Judiciary Committee recently approved H.R. 38 with a decisive vote, and this single step has transformed the political landscape. Legal scholars are calling it a once-in-a-generation shift, and anti-gun politicians are scrambling to respond. This bill isn't a side issue. It's the centerpiece of a long-term strategy to standardize gun rights nationwide. If enacted, it would remove the confusing web of state-by-state carry laws and create a clear, constitutional standard. Law enforcement joins the fight. Perhaps the most striking signal of momentum came from America's top law enforcement leaders. 24 state attorneys general joined forces to send a letter to Congress demanding national reciprocity. Their argument is simple and powerful. If an individual is considered trustworthy enough to carry in one state, that trust should extend everywhere in the country. The current system is not only inconsistent but dangerous. It turns law-abiding citizens into criminals the moment they cross a state line. When half of the country's top law enforcement officers say enough, the broken system becomes impossible to ignore. The Supreme Court's role and Trump's strategy. To understand why this moment is possible, we have to look at the Supreme Court and the influence of Donald Trump's judicial appointments. During his presidency, Trump added Justices Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett to the court. Alongside Justice Thomas, this conservative majority reshaped the legal environment surrounding the Second Amendment. Their biggest contribution came with the 2022 Bruen decision, which forced all gun laws to meet America's historical tradition of firearm regulation. This ruling gave courts a new, stricter standard that favors gun owners and dismantles restrictive state laws. With Trump's continuing influence and the possibility of even more judicial appointments, the path for H.R. 38 is wide open. How H.R. 38 works. At its heart, H.R. 38 operates on a brilliantly simple principle. Constitutional rights should not evaporate when you cross a border. Think about it. Your right to free speech doesn't vanish when you drive from Texas to California. Your right to privacy isn't suspended when you cross into Nevada. So why should your right to bear arms be treated differently? H.R. 38 doesn't create new rights. It enforces recognition of the ones that already exist. It does this in two powerful ways. Constitutional carry states will automatically recognize each other's rights. Permit holders from any state will have their licenses recognized nationwide. It's like having a universal passport for your Second Amendment freedoms. And here's the kicker. The bill shifts the burden of proof in court. If an anti-gun prosecutor charges you for carrying legally, they, not you, must prove that you weren't qualified. If they fail, they're on the hook for your legal fees. That's more than protection. It's a deterrent against abuse of power. Real-world examples of injustice. To see why H.R. 38 matters, just look at real people's lives. One infamous case is that of Shaneen Allen, a Pennsylvania mother who legally carried a firearm with a valid permit. When she drove into New Jersey, she was pulled over, admitted she was carrying, and suddenly faced felony charges. She nearly lost her freedom, her job, and her future, all because she crossed a state border. Another example involves truck drivers David McCoy and Jeffrey Johnson. These men spend most of their lives on the road, transporting goods through dangerous areas. They held valid permits and federal security credentials, but Minnesota refused to honor them. To get a Minnesota permit, they would have to apply in person, pay fees, wait a month, and have the license mailed to their homes, a process impossible for men constantly traveling. When they challenged the law in court, the judge admitted their Second Amendment rights were burdened, but dismissed their case anyway. This type of contradiction is exactly what HR 38 aims to eliminate. Opposition arguments collapse. Predictably, opponents scream about states' rights. They warn about weaker standards, claiming someone who qualifies in Florida could carry in New York. But these objections don't hold up under scrutiny. We already recognize driver's licenses, marriage certificates, and college degrees across state lines. Why not carry permits? And statistics prove permit holders are among the most law-abiding citizens in America, far more so than the general population, and even more than police officers. Claims that officers can't verify out-of-state permits are laughable in an era where patrol cars can instantly scan license plates nationwide. This isn't a technical problem, it's a political excuse. The historical case for reciprocity. The Bruin decision emphasized that modern laws must align with historical precedent. Here's what history tells us. In early America, travelers were often granted more freedom to carry arms, not less. An 1887 New Mexico law explicitly protected travelers' right to carry firearms for personal defense. No permit systems existed before 1911, well over a century after the Second Amendment was written. The historical evidence makes it clear the founders never intended for states to restrict travelers differently than residents. By this measure, most modern restrictions collapse like a house of cards. Political momentum builds. On the political front, the stars are aligning. Trump has promised national reciprocity since 2015 and continues to push for it. With Republicans controlling both the House and the Senate, and even some red state Democrats reconsidering their stance, the path is smoother than ever. Today, 29 states already allow constitutional carry. Combine that with the largest ever law enforcement endorsement of reciprocity, 24 attorneys general publicly demanding it, and the political case becomes overwhelming. What this means for gun owners. So what does this mean for you? If you already have a carry permit, you may soon be able to use it in all 50 states. If you live in a constitutional carry state, your rights could automatically extend across the nation. Manufacturers are anticipating increased demand and preparing accordingly. Sheriffs and law enforcement leaders in supportive states are already voicing readiness to implement reciprocity. For them, lawful gun owners aren't the problem. They're part of the solution. The final phase of a constitutional revolution. We are witnessing the last phase of a constitutional transformation that began in 2008 with the Heller decision, expanded in 2022 with Bruin, and may reach completion with HR 38. Gun rights could soon become the most securely protected liberty in American law. Despite media resistance and opposition from political elites, ordinary citizens, including many who don't normally side with Republicans, support reciprocity when the concept is explained simply. The momentum is undeniable. Trump is backing it, Congress is advancing it, and the Supreme Court is prepared to uphold it. HR 38 could finally deliver the nationwide reciprocity gun owners have been demanding for decades. A turning point in American liberty. This isn't just legislation, it's a constitutional milestone. HR 38 could soon guarantee that your right to carry follows you wherever you go in America. The time for half measures is over. A new era of nationwide concealed carry is on the horizon, and history may remember HR 38 as the law that secured Second Amendment rights once and for all.